Hi, this is Tron with Welch Financial Planning. I want to take a few minutes and talk about the upcoming election that's just a few short months away. On a daily basis, my email inbox is filled with various articles talking about the importance of the outcome of this election and the impact on the economy and on the stock market. The election season has already become one for history. One side's nominee is a convicted felon with several outstanding criminal trials, and the other party pushed aside their questionably mentally fit sitting president and nominated the vice president, bypassing the entire primary process. Clearly, there are no rules in place. But let's go ahead and look at some of the historical facts that support market performance based on who is elected president. So here's a historical chart going all the way back to Kennedy. And you can see obviously blue for Democrats, red for Republicans. And you can see that really it's largely an uphill trend from there. And you can go find your favorite president down the list and see how they performed during that time period. If you really look at 2010 to current, it's just been a steady upward trend. And I'm not really sure that who is sitting president has really impacted the market. In fact, let's take a look at it. This goes back to 1950 to 2023, large period of time. We can see under the Democratic president on the left-hand side, under divided Congress, that was the best performing stock market at 15, a little over 15 to 3/4%. On the Republican, the divided Congress also created the highest returns. I'm not really sure that there's enough data with the number of presidents in there, but it does make sense to me that a divided Congress would correlate stronger market returns because it takes some unknown out. When you've got a divided Congress, less gets passed, more compromise, and real fewer shocks to the market. So that does make sense to me. But let's look at the initial election year results. So all elections since 1952. The day after the election has been slightly down. However, within 2 months of the election, it's been up 2%. The fastest out of the gate was President Trump at 2.2% the day after the election, and 2 months after, up 14%. The most negative market reaction is actually President Obama taking office, down 5.25%, and 2 months later, down almost 20%. Interestingly enough, if you went back to the second slide, President Obama's term had the stock market going up 181%, which is the highest gain of any president in the market. So we may not be very good at actually predicting what the market will do with who's in office. I'd be careful when you trust yourself as to who gets elected, as to how you behave with your investment choices. But I want to talk a little bit more broadly. And clearly, when I'm watching elections as a child up to today, there's significantly more energy behind these than there was as a child. And now I look at the politics effect on voter well-being. In the second line down, 20%, 1 in 5 people are finding the election as a major stressor. They're losing sleep over it. A third are losing their temper. Half of people are overthinking the election and just spinning on it. But then really down below, over 25% or a quarter of people are having conflicts with friends and family over the election. And that to me is the disappointing part. And we need to find a way to have structured, solid, constructive discourse in talking about the future of this country. So kind of getting back a little bit to who's in president. So here is a chart of GDP growth, or basically economic growth, starting in 1996. And when I look at this chart, I really see pretty much a straight line. And think about every presidential election is about the economy. Clinton said it's the economy, stupid. And now when we really look at it, especially since 2010 on, it's pretty much a straight line at 2%. But this chart represents multiple presidents, starting with Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden. All those people came into office with an economic policy that was unbreakable, sure to work, stimulate the economy, and I would argue that all of them were kind of washed out. And the economy does what it does. The economy is made up of millions of small business owners such as myself and large corporations. I assure you the day after the election, The small business owners in America are going to show up and try and make more donuts a little less expensive the next day. I cannot be derailed if my candidate doesn't win or if my candidate does win. I have to set that aside. On this slide, let's look at consumer confidence by political affiliation. And the piece that's interesting to me is it really depends on whose office as to how you feel about consumer confidence. And I think that is way overblown. If you really look at this is most interesting impact of when Trump gained office, the Republicans became extremely optimistic and the Democrats got pessimistic. And this absolutely flipped when Biden entered office. I would argue that the economy really has grown the exact same pace under both administrations, and that flip-flop of consumer confidence really isn't warranted based on who's in office. I think we need to gain a little bit of perspective around that. Second to last slide that I want to show you here is polling data on how the different political parties feel about each other. Here's the Democrats when discussing the Republicans. The Democrats feel that 83% of Republicans are hypocritical, over 80% selfish, and at 80% mean, and 50% patriotic. Those are some really strong words of description. But now let's bring the Republicans in here. It's highly the exact same sentiment on both sides of the aisle. So basically, I think we're arguing that everybody is hypocritical, everybody is selfish, and everybody is mean. And I'm not really sure that's the case. Now, the Republicans felt that Democrats are lazy, while the Democrats felt that the Republicans were patriotic. And that's really the only difference there. So with that, I am asking you to vote. I am asking you to choose wisely. But I want you to keep some perspective as to the impact of the election that will have on the economy and have on the market as large. Moving forward, we will not be allocating portfolios any differently depending on how polling data comes or the outcome of the election. We will continue to invest in high quality companies and use investment firms with historically strong track records to support you now and in retirement. Have a great day. Please let me know if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.